Lamb is one of those films that when you watch it, you just can't get it out of your head, or at least I couldn't get it out of my head, and it could be because Ada is just so damn cute. Watching the trailer piqued my interest, but I was hesitant to watch because I was fearful that some weird might be going down with this film. Similar to Splice, if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. To motivate myself to watch Lamb, I decided to watch a review about it. I don't know about other people, but a lot of times when watching a movie, my brain shuts off, and when the movie ends, I'm left wondering what the hell happened. Sometimes it helps to watch a non-spoiler review that gives a roadmap of the film, but doesn't give anything away. Doing this encourages me to pay better attention as I anticipate those particular moments in the film that the reviewer will often tell you to keep an eye out for. I don't do this for all films, but it does help to know in advance what's taking place, especially with films that the audience is expected to think alongside the characters. I wish I had done this with the Green Knight film because I had no clue what was going on until I watched an explanation on what the film was based on. And it does not help that the audio is so damn low, especially when the people talk. Back to the film. To summarize Lamb, it's about a couple that has lost a child and left their marriage fractured, but what helps fill that void and repair their relationship is taking an Ada that is a hybrid. There are reviews that further states that this film is about the parents and their process of grieving, and that's well and fine, but there are some writing and editing decisions in this film that I don't agree with, and feel that some aspects of the film wasn't explored enough. And even though this is titled a fixing video, this review has nothing to do with it being bad or good, but more on the lines of it being an interesting film that I want to further explore. One more thing. For one of the additional scenes, I drew an image that some might not deem inappropriate, and I will give a heads up when nearing this image. With that, let's get started. Maria and Ingvar tend to their responsibilities on the farm until they spot a stray sheep out in the distance. It takes some time, but they herd the lone sheep back into the flock. As the two assist the sheep's giving birth, Ingvar notices that Maria holds on to the newly born lambs longer than usual. He hesitantly tells her that the lambs need to drink, and she returns the lamb to its mother, and they turn in for the night. First off, I apologize for butchering the names. I have tried very hard to listen for the names, but again, I apologize for mispronouncing them. Anyway, when it comes to the opening of the film, it's very ominous, and I kinda kept expecting something to happen, but it never did. The trailer came off as if something sinister was afoot, but it was kind of the opposite. Nothing too drastic happens until the very end. Knowing what happens, opening the film differently would give better context going further into the film, in my opinion. Also, there's been some complaints about the lack of dialogue in the film, especially between the couple, and clearly that was done to show how fractured their marriage has become since the loss of their child. Hence why I added the scene where Maria holds on to the lamb. Something else I had an issue with was how long it took for Ada to be born. 18 minutes. I understand that this is a slow-paced, slow-burn film and that additional time is used to introduce the characters and the setting, but I think they could have done all that in relatively half the time, if only to give more time to other parts of the film. The couple assist the stray sheep as it gives birth and are shocked to what it gives birth to. They stare at it puzzled, but Ingvar turns his head and contemplates. Before he can decide anything, Maria makes up her mind. Ingvar is unsure what to make of the situation, but lets it go for now. In the morning when he wakes, he finds Maria being unusually motherly to the newborn. He keeps his distance, only assisting when she asks. When she steps away for a moment and the newborn becomes fussy, Ingvar watches but eventually picks it up. When Maria re-enters the room, she takes over and Ingvar returns back to the field and has a breakdown as he accepts the inevitable. In the film, Maria almost immediately claims Ada as her own, but Ingvar comes off a little more reserved to the idea, with there only being a shot or two of his hesitancy, but eventually accepts it. My issue with this is that there wasn't that split second of doubt. What I mean by this is when it comes to deformed births with animals, there's always that thought, even if it's just for a moment, on whether it would be more humane to end it then and there, especially when it's unknown if it'll survive, even with the proper care. Since Ingvar was more hesitant in the film, I elaborated on it by having him look away and glance at the pitchfork. Also, given the messaging in the film, it dawned on me to alter the events and actions as to how each parent interacts with Ada. When it comes to the birth of a child, the mothers are usually the first parent to hold the child first. However, in the film, Ingvar is the one that hands Ada to Maria, which is a little condescending given that he's the one that's hesitant. That's why I had Maria hold Ada first of her own accord and then give Ingvar his moment to choose. I did like that they both participated with the birth, given that it does take two to make one. The mother sheep that gave birth to Ada relentlessly pursues Ada, and Maria has had enough. She refuses to lose Ada again and eliminates the threat. As she buries the body, Maria can't help but feel as if she's being watched. She scans the landscape but sees nothing. This is where things start to fall off the rails for me. The sheep that gave birth to Ada is unusually attached to her. I don't know anything about the psychology of sheep or animals in general, but to my knowledge, sheep aren't as aggressively attached to their offspring as this one was in the film. This had me wondering if this was due to the nature of the birth or if this sheep was not what it appeared, similar to Ada's biological father. I gravitated towards this particular theory because when the sheep ran off with Ada, it appeared to have intentionally taken her away from the farm and was waiting for something. It's kinda easy to forget that the sheep is a mother that does have a right to her child, and the constant pursuit shows there is a bond there that Maria severed out of grief and fear, which is understandable but still morbid as hell. P.S. Heads up, the image that I warned about is coming up, and if you don't want to see it, now's the time to click off. As the adult stands, Ada steps out and sees something that raises questions for her. When she looks at her reflection, she touches her face and becomes aware of her differences. Ada attempts speech, but finds herself unable to, which frustrates her. She returns to the house and takes a nap. Batur lays down on the couch and Maria makes her way to the kitchen but finds the door open and the dismembered head of the sheep she shot. She goes and reburies it and knows that she is being watched. That night, Ada has a dream of being approached by a ram that gets taller. Next morning, Maria takes Batur to the bus stop. Ingar and Ada goes to fix a tractor and the unthinkable happens. Ada cries out as she's pulled away. The ram lowers himself to Ada's level. Looking at him, she touches his face and leaves with him. The introduction of Ingar's brother Batur was weird, especially with no context, but does give the opportunity to show an outsider's perspective into this unusual situation, and while he is an ass, he eventually grows fond of Ada, proving that Ingar and Maria's love for Ada isn't just out of grief. However, I do wish there was some hesitancy on revealing Ada to Batur, given that most wouldn't react so calmly and keep it to themselves, which hints that the couple may be somewhat delusional of their unique situation. I didn't mind Batur's character, but I was annoyed with his constant pursuit of Maria and even resorts to blackmailing her to have his way with her. I did not think this was at all necessary, especially since it happened after Maria and Ingar had appeared to repair their relationship when they consummated. I suppose Batur's character was to symbolize the couple's doubts, but when they consummated, that should have been confirmation that they were whole again as a couple and a family. If that was the case, then was Batur's pursuit of Maria revealing her lingering doubts, and when she sees him off, her doubts go with him? That makes no sense considering her killing Ada's biological mother confirms her commitment to raising Ada. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Anyway, the time spent showing Batur's pursuit of Maria would have been better spent showing Ada's perspective of the situation, since nearing the end of the film, it does show her becoming aware of being different. When they're dancing, she goes to the piano and looks as if she wants the piano to be played but can't seem to get their attention. So she runs out and spots her biological father, who she doesn't seem to be too afraid of, and when looking in the mirror, she is clearly reflecting on her appearance. These small hints could have been better expanded upon with her touching her face, which directs her attention to her different arms. Just these subtle additions would have made the ending more understandable. Something else I didn't fully understand was the dreams. Maria was clearly plagued with them throughout the film, but to me it felt like Ada should have been the one plagued with these dreams. When it comes to the ending of the movie, it was always unsettling to me. The death of Ingar came off as if it was revenge for Maria killing the sheep, but there was nothing showing or hinting that he knew what Maria had done. That's why I added the severed head scene and the dream sequence for Ada, hinting that her time with Maria and Ingar is nearing to an end, and possibly explaining why Ada does not seem afraid of her biological father even after seeing him shoot Ingar. I did want Ada to be reluctant to leave with him and show a more attentive side to the ram than just a murderous beast that's reclaiming what he believes is his. Everything I added, I did with the tone of the film in mind, visual subtleties that don't require dialogue. For those who watched the whole video, I'm sure you must be thinking, what was the big deal? The big deal is I wanted to cover all my bases so I don't get in trouble. To most, I'm sure the image wasn't offensive, but I just wanted to be sensitive to those that might be triggered by it. To be frank, I'm rather fond and satisfied on how well it turned out. What was a surprise was how much analyzing I did and very little rewriting, but like I said in the beginning, this is one of those films that I couldn't stop thinking about, which inevitably led me to watch it again and eventually make this video. But isn't that one of the goals when making a movie? Whether it's good, bad, boring, exciting, etc., as long as we watch it more than once. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie, but I will admit the slow pace had my attention wandering from time to time, but this adorable little face made it all worth it. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe.